Hello my friends, I'm GHondo, and welcome to a new game called Judgment Apocalypse Survival Simulation. So this is a colony survival type game. Let's get right into it here. Basically, you're going to start off with 3 survivors, and you can get more, and you're trying to basically survive against demon attacks. So I've tried on a few different skill settings, just taking some practice games. I think we're going to go with Forgiving, which is basically the medium skill setting. Challenging, I only lasted 3 days, so it wasn't really make much of a play. And Casual, I thought was a bit too easy, so we'll go on the medium setting. Map seed can be really anything. Let's just go with whatever that is. And awesome. Okay, so it rolls you a party here now. Unlike a lot of other games where you start with multiple people, you can re-roll, but it re-rolls the whole party, not just individual people. So it gets kind of harsh. For example, if you have one that's really, really awesome and one that's really, really crap, you have to decide whether you're willing to give the one up to fix the other one or whether you just live with them both. But either way, there's 5 classes. There's the Engineer, Survivalist, Occultist, and then there's also the Fighter and the Priest. Each one of them has different tasks that they're happier to work on, and thus they gain experience faster. But we won't worry about that too much. I'm more interested in their quirks. So, like this one, for an example, makes them very good for melee fighting, so you get a huge damage bonus, although their health is lower, which is a little bit scary. Weirdo is just a weird one. Vegans totally don't like fighting at all, at least not with melee. You can still use bows with them, and they're not too bad. Especially with Perceptive, they have good vision range, so. Although Addict does kind of undo the melee damage penalty, but I think I'd probably still use this person as a archer anyway. But none of these are really jumping out at me as awesome, so I'm just going to reroll. Builders, okay. Spook is an interesting one. It makes you a much better fighter. Healthy is obviously very good. Geek for research is good, although it's going to kill the damage. Another one that does research. Okay, so you're going to be our researcher, no question. These 2 can do the fighting, especially this one. Even though they're not actually fighters, their skills just kind of lend themselves that way. So I think we're going to go with this party. And you can, of course, rename people. So if anyone wants a character named after them, let me know in the comments, and I will be happy to oblige. But for now, I'll just leave them on their default names, and let's go. Okay, so basically at this point it's going to be giving us kind of guidance type missions. If you want, you could pause to read the flavor text, but basically they want you to build a cabin, food table, and bed. So let's get going with that. The very first thing I like to do when I first start a map is find out where the well is, because there's always one on the map. And you need a lot of water, so it's generally better to build your cabin kind of near the well. It looks like the well is right there this time. Not particularly ideal, but we can work with that. So I think we're going to build the first cabin probably somewhere around here, so it's pretty nearby. And you'll see this screen a lot, so don't worry that I'm going kind of fast here. The build screen and the craft screen and those things you'll see quite a bit anyway, so for now we'll put that right there. And in the meantime, we'll create some tasks for the guys to work on. Chopping down a whole pack of trees and mining out a bunch of stones. Is there any clay floating around? There's some down there, because we'll need some of that later. Alright, that seems like enough work for them to start with. So let's look at how you actually tell them what to do. So this is the priority screen, and this tells the people what they should work on in what order. And you'll notice some things have the little up arrow. That means it's a task that's preferred by the class. Not necessarily based on their skills or quirks, but based purely on their class. So ideally, you want people working on what they like to work on, but if they have stats that really lean them in a different direction, it's usually worth it to kind of fudge a little bit. Like, for an example, the occultist likes occult research but isn't keen on scientific research. But with these bonuses, that's probably something I'm going to have her do anyway. But anyway, building, that's a good start. Rituals, I guess that's fine. Farming's quite important. Fetching water's fairly important. Occult research, I guess if you get to it, you get to it. For Liz, the survivalist, definitely farming. In fact, do some woods. And August, I guess. Somebody needs to be doing some quarrying or we'll never get anything done. Oh, and crafting too. And you'll definitely need that. I'll put that first, actually. Okay, so we have some mining relatively early, farming early. Nobody's any good at chopping trees, huh? It's a bit harsh. Alright, I guess we'll go with that for now. We really do need more people in order to get stuff done here, but that will do for a start. There's also little bits of ruins around that'll give us scraps and some medicines. That was very, very fast. You built that in no time. Alright, so it wanted a food table, which we can plug right there. And a bed, which we can plug right there. And yes, it looks weird that the entrance is blocked by trees, but they can walk through them, so it doesn't really matter. And they'll clear them out later anyway, so it's really not going to be a big deal. Awesome. Okay, so again, you can pause to read that if you like, but basically it wants us to build an experiment table and do our first bit of research. So, experiment table it is. And it wants farming research, which if you notice there says science research 05, so it needs 5 points of research. So once this thing is built, we'll have to temporarily assign somebody to do research. Guess it doesn't really matter who, probably is our good researcher, you. And we'll just leave that on temporarily until we get 5 research, then we'll put her back to doing the other stuff she's doing. But it is very important to get this research done so you can build farms and actually start feeding yourself, because you have a very, very finite amount of starting food. And it does not last long. Speed the clock up a little bit. And that is our 5th food. We can pause there. Set her back to doing whatever she was doing, which was crafting and quarrying. And we can go and buy farming. Okay, again, you can pause if you like, but basically it wants 2 vegetable farms to start with. So let us build those. Again, we want them kind of near the housing, so they don't have to walk quite as far. Put one there, and I don't have enough for the second one. What am I short? A little bit of wood. That won't take long to get. That should not take long at all. Although the guy that does wood is Ross, and he's the one building, so it might take a little bit. Alright, that's cool too. He's also the farmer, I think. Yep, he's the builder and the farmer. So yeah. Actually, I don't really have anybody on trees because Liz will be busy doing water. That's fine. And I'm short. 5, okay. Speed the clock up a bit. He's working on it, but it'll take him a bit. I like to put a bit of space between each one so they can walk around it a little bit easier. It's not strictly necessary, but they can walk through trees, but they can't walk through buildings. So. Okay. So now it's saying craft 3 clubs. You don't have to necessarily do clubs. You can actually craft bows instead, or some combination of. The reason it suggests clubs is because you don't need a workbench or anything. You can just build them wherever. So let's have a quick look again at our people and see if they lean heavily towards melee or ranged. This guy has nothing that pushes it either way, so he's probably just be melee. So as a spook, if it doesn't specify melee or ranged or bows or pistols or something for the action, then it affects both. So Liz will be basically a pretty good fighter regardless of whether it's with a bow or a club. And with a healthy stat for extra health, I'll probably do that as melee, because melee tend to take more damage. And August here, she's just going to be kind of terrible at fighting regardless. So I guess we'll just make all 3 of them clubs. No, nobody really jumps out as needing a bow. Oh, I don't have enough wood to do the 3rd one. That's fine. Ross is on Caper. Okay, so we are being attacked. Whenever your base is attacked, you automatically get to go to the preparation screen to make sure everybody's equipped. We don't have any armor or equipment yet, so it's really just get your clubs out. And here's our Sikkema. It is a basic imp, the absolute least of the demon army. They're weak. They're not very scary at all. I guess unless there's tons of them, but individually we should have no trouble defeating it, even with just clubs. I'm just going to select everybody here and tell them to go ahead and chase it down. They're going to fight in the forest, so it's going to be hard to see, but they should have no trouble beating the snot out of this little imp. There you go. And as we are victorious, we get the loot. These little tiny demons, like imps and that, almost always drop sulfur. So that's fine. And now it wants us to actually go out and scavenge somewhere. But first, this is all triggered. This beginning part of the game that's why I already know what's coming, because it's always the same. First, you get a chance to rescue a new person, so let's go and do that first. So pop up the world map. So our base is here. All these other little icons here, these are places where demons have taken hold. So you can go and clear. It tells you, what kind of enemies there are there and what kind of stuff you might get if you defeat them. But we're interested in down here where there's that rescue mission. The first one's always just 1 imp, so it's real easy. Let's create us a task force. Remember, August is the crap fighter, so we'll use her. You have to leave somebody at the base. You can't just completely abandon it. So we'll leave her back to officially defend the base. We'll send these 2 out. Awesome. And it has created a default name of Smugglers, which is a terrible name. I will take suggestions on what the team name should be, as well as what symbol it could be. There's plenty to choose from here, so if you have a specific name you'd like to see, and or symbol you'd like to see, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I think for now we'll take the scythe here and make it green. And people could be called farmers. For now, that'll do. Smugglers is a terrible name, so we'll go with farmers for now. Okay. And we will send you on a rescue mission. Let's party. Do. Oh, this here is we're not going to be going anywhere near. As you can see, it's massively covered. But that's a gate. That's where enemies are coming in from. So At some point, we're going to want to try and take one of those down. Not today. We can't. I don't think there's anything here we could even beat if it was by itself, let alone in this group. Yeah, no, we're not going anywhere near that anytime soon. We'll just go do this rescue mission. Okay, so off we go. So what we're looking for on the map are one of two things, either a red X, which means enemies, or a yellow exclamation mark, which is our target. Found this little imp, so we might as well go beat him up. Easy. And on these missions, enemies do respawn once in a while, so you can't just stand around and do nothing. You do actually have to go and find the survivor. There it is, the cage there. You can just see it barely on the corner there. One of you can go and open the cage, the other one will guard. So you'll notice right now the bar is going at a decent speed and then it just kind of stopped. When it stops like that, that means enemies have respawned. Now we know it's just going to be an imp, because that's all that was on this mission, but later on they get really, really nasty, where the reinforcements are much worse than the original fight was. Okay, and then this goes back to full speed again, and if we're lucky it'll go all the way to the end before we get attacked again. Hey, hello Andrew. You are an engineer, good at crafting, have good vision, and you're nice and healthy. You'll make an excellent combat addition to our group. Alright, so we'll grab everyone, we'll tell them to go ahead and leave, and that tells them to go back to the zone where they came in, which is also how they leave. Let's speed up a little bit, let them run over there, so we don't have to wait as long. And we are done here. Again, we'll get some sulfur because we beat up little imps. This guy was rescued. These two both survived. They gain experience for the kills. Do you want them to return to base? Sure. Now here's something a little quirky. They'll walk back full speed, but you go to the base. Andrew's already there. I don't know how he does it. He's magic. But anyway, we should get him a club and set his priorities. So clearly, number one, he's going to be a crafter. He's incredibly good at that. Building can be there. He also likes research, which is very helpful. So we'll let him do that as well. That means we don't have to drag somebody else to do research, although he's not very good at it. So we'll have to wait and see. I might push that back a little bit, actually, because he's really not good at it. And we do want like quarrying to happen as well, so. Him run in. And he's found some rocks that I've asked to be cleared, so he'll start generating stone. In the meantime, our main group is almost back, which is nice. When they arrive, you'll just see them pop up on the map. And we're back to full strength. There we go. Just kind of pop in. Probably go and grab something to eat because they were gone a long time. We're probably hungry, and now they're just back to work. No problem. Alright, well that looks like an excellent spot to stop for this episode, so I think we'll cut it there. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed that little intro to this game. And like I said, if you want any of the existing characters or the team name to have a specific name, let me know in the comments. If you do want a specific person name, you have to tell me who the current one is. You can't just say, hey, name in this. You have to tell me which one you're talking about, obviously. And if you want any kind of, like say for example, you decide you'd like Ross renamed to something, not only can we rename him, but of course we can change the color of his shirt and pants and all that. If you want to do any of that stuff too, just let me know. I don't mind doing that. But in the meantime, we're going to cut it here, so thank you to everyone for watching today, and until next time folks, stay calm, and I hope you'll come and chill with me again in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye now.